Snapseed photo editing tutorial for beginners. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the channel. Today we're having a look at an app called Snapseed. Now, Snapseed is actually produced by Google, so it is a 100% free app, and there are a bunch of cool things that you can actually do with it. One of the main advantages of Snapseed is the fact that it is a mobile app, so you don't actually need a laptop or a desktop to actually be able to use this app and edit your images. Another great advantage of Snapseed is the fact that it exports at high quality picture, so you don't have to worry about losing quality when you're actually trying to fix your images. Now, you can use Snapseed for a bunch of different things. I'm going to show you exactly how you do it. So the first thing you need to do is download it, and this is what it looks like when you open it. On the top right hand side, you will see there are three dots, and you can tap on that. They also offer a bunch of tutorials. They offer you some help tabs, and you can also give them some feedback. Going into the settings tab over here, you can apply the dark theme if you would like, and then the exporting and sharing options. So it says image sizing. Do not resize. It says choose the maximum image size for exporting and sharing. The sizes given refer to the long edge of the image, for example, to the width for landscape images, and would only apply to images larger than the selected value. It also states that smaller images will not be enlarged. So here you can basically choose how the images are resized. So you can either say do not resize, or you can actually resize them to one specific size. Now, if you're doing a photo set and you need them in a specific size, you can choose them over here. However, I leave it on do not resize because I will resize each image as I need. The next thing you want to do is you want to tap on format and quality. And right over here, you can now tap on which quality output you would like. So JPEG is what we would prefer, and 100% quality. So this basically allows you to export at the highest possible quality. Now, the next thing is you can tap anywhere on this screen, or on the top left hand side, you can tap on open. It'll go into your gallery, and now you can choose an image. Now, I've opened this folder over here for good reasons. These are some of the images that I would like to actually start fixing up. So what you can do is it gives you the option to actually open the image so you can actually see what it looks like. So you don't actually have to reference it with the thumbnail. So as you can see here, there are a number of different issues with some of these images. So you can see some of them are too light, some of them are too dark. Now you can actually start playing around in Snapseed and actually start using it to your advantage. I'm going to select this image over here for an example. Now, the first thing it does is it gives you a few styles or presets. Now, these presets basically give you different options in terms of presetting what your image looks like. So tapping on portrait versus tapping on smooth will give you a range of various different effects. Now, let's go over and tap on one of the fine art over here, and you can see it gives you a little bit of an example. This is actually a black and white image that they have made up. Tapping on the morning, you can see now that it also actually brings out the color of the image. However, for me, I like to have a little bit more control over how I actually do these images. So we're going to go back and we're going to tap on current, and we're going to tap the check mark. Once you go into tools, there are a bunch of different things that you can do here. Some of the very basic things that you want to do is tapping on tune image, and these are some of the very basic things that you want to do. So first of all, the one thing that you want to do is for this particular image, you want to increase the brightness. Now, if you are scrolling up and down, you will now scroll between all of the different elements that you can change of your image. And once you've selected the one that you like, it does display up at the top, and you can move left and right on your screen to actually higher the brightness or lower the brightness. So as we're going up over here, we can now increase this brightness just a little bit, and you can now see that the image quality is starting to change. On the top right hand side, you can see a little icon that will show you your previous image versus what you've actually changed about the image. One of the other things that you want to try and do here is brightness and contrast very much work well with each other. So if you want to bring up the contrast a little bit and you want to bring up the brightness, this is one way to actually change the quality of this image. However, as you bring the contrast up too much, you can see that it starts distorting the skin tone of the subject in the photograph. So we're going to bring it back down. We're going to just put it on about 10 to 12. One of the other elements that you can actually use here is, if you're not using the brightness and the contrast with each other, you can actually scroll down and you can now use the highlights and the shadows. Now, highlights will be anything that is light in your image. So if you're putting that all the way up, you can see that it actually changes some of the highlights. The shadows is one of the elements in your image that are darker. So your darker tones you are actually going to be editing now. So once you slide that up, you can actually see that it brings up the darkness of the image. And the more you bring it up, you can see that it actually brings it out completely. Now, again, this image is actually distorted because the shadows are too high. What you can actually now do is go back up to brightness. You can increase the brightness a little bit, which is the overall brightness of the image. We're going to put that at 50. We're going to go ahead and we're going to touch the contrast. We're going to have a look at between 10 and 12. And then we're going to go down to the highlights. We're going to bring up the highlights a tiny bit, and we're going to bring up the shadows quite a bit. Now, as you can see, there is a difference between these two images. You can actually see the subject clearly now. One of the other things that I like to actually change is the saturation. So the saturation basically gives it a bit more color or a bit more tone. So now you can actually see the difference between these two images. If you're pushing that up too high, your skin tone is going to go against the more orange tone. And if you're pushing it all the way down, it's actually making it a more black and white image. So now you can play around with this and you can see how to make your images a little bit more enhanced. Some of the other features that I like to use over here is a healing tool. So perhaps if you can see over here, there's a little piece of red sticking out his pocket, and although it's supposed to be there, just for example's sake, you can now just mask it over there just by touching it, and it now actually gets removed. You can also do it with other items such as this gold chain. We can completely remove it, and having a look at the image now, it looks completely different. Again, on the top right hand side, you can tap on this and hold it in, and you can actually see the difference between your image, your before and your after. Some of the other things that I like to use on the Snapseed app is the vignette, and the vignette basically allows you to move around where you want your focus or your light to be on. So we're going to put it in on their faces, and scrolling up and down gives you the inner brightness and the outer brightness. So we're moving to the outer brightness, and we can actually lower it quite a bit, and it actually decreases the outer brightness. So again, now we can move to the inner brightness, and we can actually lighten it up, or we can darken it. And depending on what exactly it is you want, you can then just tap on the check mark at the bottom of the screen. Now, another nice thing about Snapseed is you can actually go to the top of this icon over here, and you can view your edits. Now, on the right hand side at the bottom of the screen, you can see all the edits that you have made, and you can now actually edit them. So for example, the tuning of the image, you can now tap on that, and you can actually reset the tuning by tapping on this icon, or you can actually brush your image. So having a look at what this image looks like now, you can actually turn it around to its original or its edited image, and we can then change the value over here. And if we turn it up all the way to 100, it'll actually now start to use the edit that you specifically did on this image, and you can now actually just brush in terms of where you want to edit. And if you can't actually see the image properly and where you're brushing, if you hit the little eye icon, you can now see exactly what it is that you're doing. Now, to erase the red or the editing or the brushing that you're doing, you can actually turn the tune image down to 0, and it'll actually start erasing what you're doing over here. So this works well if you want to do black and white. So for example, we're going to hit the X, so we're not going to save that. If we go back and we go to tools, we can now tap on black and white, And let's say perhaps we're going to use this over here. Now we can select the check mark and go back into this menu and tap on view edits, and we can tap on the black and white and then the brush icon. Now what you see over here, you will be able to brush on black and white. So if we're going around over here, you can now see that this is the part of the image that we are going to make black and white. So you can just brush that down accordingly. We're going to take this part over here as well, and we're going to make that black and white as well. So if you now tap the icon again, the eyeball icon, you can actually now see that everything around your subject is actually in black and white. And if you see over here, there are some edges of the subject's face that are actually now in black and white. So what we can do is we can just hit the black and white arrow going down and make the value 0, and hit the red again, and now you can actually zoom in by pinching and mask around your subject so that we can remove that black and white from the subject itself. And to pinch to zoom and pinch out to zoom, you can also hold with 2 fingers and you can actually move the image up and down. Otherwise, if you're only moving up and down with 1 finger, then you will be actually removing or applying your effect. Once you tap the eyeball again, you can now see that that's what the image looks like. Of course, doing it with an image that has color in it will work out much better. Once you're done with that, you can explore a bunch of other tools. As you can see here, there are a bunch of different things you can do. Those are the basic things just to fix some of the images that you need to. If you need to bring out some light, or if you need to darken some of your images, that is the best way to do it. When you're done, you can tap on export and you can tap on save over here. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to save your image to your gallery, and now you can export your image to wherever you need to use it. And that's how you use Snapseed for beginners. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave us a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now.